Hello, and we're back for another episode with Kane today, and we're going to get into it and see what everything we've got going on in each other's upcoming plans and prep, and a few other things we've got going on. And after your big win, I bet you, how's that feel, mate? Going into that, you getting
Do
the
you know
crow?
what?
Yeah,
You know what? If on the day, right, it feels you're really proud. You know what I mean? You're really proud and happy about it. But the next day, reality hits, right? Because the next morning I got back home, I was doing work the next day as normal.
mm,
So it's like you don't really have time to take it in. But the it was a great weekend. It was a great weekend to win
nice,
amateur show overalls and then win the pro show. It was amazing.
awesome.
But it's an experience that I think a lot of bodybuilders go through it, whereby we live in the like we always look for the future. So even when I got my photos, I got the photos and I'm looking at what I can improve. What's the negative? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you
And
gotcha.
and then and then you're like, what am I going to do next? And you're like, just look at the pictures, mate, and just be happy for a few days. You
Yeah,
know, and be like, you know what, this is pretty good. This is pretty good.
yeah, nice.
And I think a lot of bodybuilders and people, I think athletes in general, we struggle to stay in the now for a little bit. We're always just next, 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 and that drives us. But sometimes a bit of self-reflection can do you good, you know. So I haven't really reflected on it. Do you know what?
Mm,
The funny thing was, I won, and I didn't even put up a post on any social media really. I put up one story, like
yeah.
one story, and then my wife's like, "It's Wednesday after the show. Can you just put up a post? Like do something."
You needed that
And
time probably for you, for your mental space, just to like let stuff go,
it
just to
was just
relax a bit. Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just mentally wrecked, but I was happy though. But I was just like, oh my god! Like I said, straight back into work. There was straight into the normal life, gymnastics, with my daughter and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of them things. It's a very weird thing, but hey, nothing changes here. Nothing changes, and I am looking forward to next year. But I'm looking forward just to becoming. I'm going on holiday soon. That's a good thing. But I'm looking forward
Nice.
just to relaxing, downtime.
What are you
Just
doing
chill
for
out. No,
holidays?
we're going to Bali.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So it's a short one there. But hey, the weather outside now, I will take it. You know what I
It's
mean?
it's colder
It's
in
so
Melbourne. So, yeah,
it's so cold, man. Like in the mornings, I look like a right funny one because I've got the hoodie on. I'm walking like in my. Oh man, I'm fully like furred up, all the socks and all that. It's cold. It's cold
that's
as
like,
so.
was it like 2 days ago? We had I got up in the morning, it was -6. I was like, ooh, ooh.
No, it's so cold, man. So cold. Yeah, it is a wild one, but the main thing is like now I think you got to after a show you got to give back to your family a little bit, you know. So you got to try and support them because they carry you towards the end.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
bodybuilding is an individual sport, but man, it takes the family around you has to support you as well. So you give back to them, try and make amends for being a what do you? I always say like you're not heartless, but you're like an empty vessel towards the end. You know what I mean?
You
You
just
you,
go
you
through
try
the
your best.
motions of each day, and it's just another day down. You just got to repeat the same process over and over again. So it feels robotic to you, if you get what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah, and not
yeah,
not just that. It's like this is very negative, but like I think each competitor gets this, or someone who's been down really low body fat. You can wake up in the morning and you just want the day to be over. It's a really negative. It's like a negative headspace, but you're at that point where you don't care anymore. You're like, I want the day to be done. It's another day done. You know what I mean?
yeah. You get
But
moodier than way normal too. That's sort
yeah,
of, you
I'm
got to
not so
watch
much
that.
moody.
Yeah,
I'm not the moody. I go quiet. I go quite quiet. So it's a bit of a difference, but I think that just comes through competing for so long as well.
hmm,
You know, you can't like you're choosing to do this. You're choosing to do a
yeah.
controlled starve, really. So you can't be like, "Ugh," I try not to be barking at people or anything like that. It's
Yeah,
not fair.
it's just what I mean more. Say as an example, usually your runway would be this long.
Yeah,
With
I
that
don't.
in there,
Yeah,
it's this long. If you get what
yeah.
I mean, it comes down a
It's
little
not.
bit
I don't
as well.
think
It's
it
not
might
quite
not
as
even be
long,
there.
but you can
Yeah,
still
exactly.
control that. You still realize that that's the reason why you do it. So when you do have that in the back of your mind, you're like, hang on a minute, hang on.
Yeah.
You just got
So
to
even
have
like
that extra one in the back of your head there, if you get me. Yeah,
good side, bad side, you
sort
know.
of. Yeah,
But
sort of.
but even after the show, like I'm not doing any rebound or anything like that.
Mm.
Just straight into a health phase and just
Yeah,
just get healthy.
yeah,
Nothing crazy. My food's pretty high. I'm not really food focused or anything like that.
yeah. You need
And
that.
yeah, and just like yesterday was the first session where I properly sent it in training. You know, I properly gave it some. I thought, you know what, I'm feeling all right.
Mm.
And it was a proper leg day, and I thought, let's go. And I sent it, and it felt good, you know. But now I'm buckled. My legs are fried,
Did you? So
which is good. Which is good.
when you come back for that training, did you just have a rest during that time and just like just do a little bit less, or did you just drop your volume down, or you just didn't go at
Uh,
all?
I, no, I took the day off afterwards always.
Mm.
Or not always. Sometimes do you know what? I've been to the gym. I'm a bit of a weirdo. So I lost the show once,
Mm.
a few times, and I went to the gym that night and trained because I was just angry at myself. But this time, and that's another story. But this time, like I took a day off. And I went back less days, less volume, less intensity, literally just going in to circulate blood
Mm.
for your headspace. And then, like I said, yesterday was the first day. I thought, I'm feeling all right. Let's push it a bit. And it was good. It was good. Come out of the gym like, all right, that was a proper session.
Yeah,
It was good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of what, because I just had the phase as well, similar, well, not similar to you, because like you obviously were much leaner. I just went through like that phase where I had, what was it, like 5 days, and I just increased my calories, so I ate a lot of calories over the 5 days deliberately to
Yeah.
rebound me out. I'm thinking that this phase is going to take me 2 weeks. No, it took me like 5 days, and then I had to pull it back into check. I was like, bloody damn, we could have lasted longer.
Uh,
Didn't last longer though. It is
yeah.
what it is though. Yeah,
In a way, though, sometimes you don't want it to last too long
yeah,
because it is time wasted. So there are approaches where if you go longer,
yeah.
sometimes it can dig you out of the hole better if you're in really deep. But
Mm.
if you're not in a really deep hole, the shorter period's probably better because then you've got more days to lose the fat.
Yeah,
Recharge, reset, refresh, then lose the fat again,
yeah.
and go into
Plus,
a hard fat phase.
plus during that time, only the 5 days. Realistically, over that, it would have only probably been like 800 grams or 500 grams because your body wouldn't physically be able to put all that fat on over that period of time, if you get what I mean. So there's a
Yeah, I
positive
know,
there.
man.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and just refreshing yourself. But look, with some of my clients, I'll dig them hard though. I can dig them deep hard, like so, get you properly depleted, and then give you a week.
mm,
But it has to hurt a bit. It has to hurt a bit to do that, and the person has to be on it because when you go to a maintenance block or like a maintenance block of calories, you find that some people go overboard and they I can't stop,
yeah,
and,
that's
and
what
they,
my problem was this time. Usually, I don't have that problem.
yeah,
That's why I said it only lasted 5 days. It should have been a controlled 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I should have just sat
yeah,
at the four like I wanted. The plan was about 420. I mean, four. I got the numbers wrong. 4,200. Sort of sitting around
yeah,
at 4,500, and that's like about my maintenance or just under maintenance. So that
yeah.
would have been like sort of perfect for me to sit there. But like I says, the control thing just got too much, and I was just. But you got to remember, I'm like now what like 67 weeks in of like this long extended diet. So my head's like like
You've
playing.
been dieting for 67 weeks.
Yes, 68 weeks. Yeah, 68 weeks.
Wow.
I've come down from like 150 kilos, but I did it really slow, like I explained to you before, like
Yeah, yeah,
down,
yeah,
boom,
yeah.
boom, boom, and I have them little phases where I'll go back up, sit, then bang, bang.
Mm,
So I don't have the loose skin. I didn't want to pay and get all them operations. I was like, not going to deal
yeah.
with that. If you get what I
You,
mean.
you
So,
go through a lot of like just mental burnout from that as well. Like
mm,
even though it's slow, it's less physically dramatic, but mentally it's hard.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard because also if you're bodybuilding, you want to build muscle, and to
mm.
be in that phase for that
For that
long,
long, yeah.
you're not optimally building more muscle.
And
It's crazy.
your head's hard because I'm like, because he's seen me, like I've seen myself go from what I was to what I am, and then all the measurements is the killer for me. So I found as I get leaner, I stop taking them because if something goes under, because that muscle dysmorphia will kick in. It's like my legs go
Mm,
under 30 inches or something, I want to eat.
mm.
My arms go under 20 inches, I want to eat. If my chest goes under like a 58, a 54, my bad. I have had it up to a 58 once. That was ages ago though. I was a lot fatter
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah.
I was a lot fatter, but
It might have
yeah,
been chest and everything. Extra fillets. You know.
I was just fat when I was 58. Like it's this, but no, it becomes a mind struggle then. So I found I try not to measure myself when I get lower like that. Otherwise, I'll just eat.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I like
Yeah.
measure. I'm like a yeah. I got measurements from. I started measuring and weighing
Mm.
when I was like in 2005. I think I have the book, and now I used to get a plastic book with all the pages for
Mhm.
weeks and do the written in.
Mm.
I've got like measurement now. I do blood glucose. I do everything. I'm just that weirdo. I just like numbers. And if I feel like
That's
I've got the numbers right,
that's
I've
why
got the numbers there.
That's why I built
Mm,
my own app thing. So I designed it and built it, and I can add all them in, and it gives me the measurements and the calculations for it, and that, and the others, and
yeah.
like the body fat ones and the other. Because the other body fat percentage ones I'd use were always off. So what I found though, when I use this body fat measurement, it's closer as I get leaner. But the problem is when I use it on a client that's overweight more, it reads them much higher body fat than they are. If you get what I mean.
Oh,
So it does it the opposite way. This is because I
yeah.
calculated it a certain way, but it is what it is, suppose. But
Do you know the funny thing is, I've only ever measured my body fat when I did a PT course about 20 odd years ago. First,
mm,
I've never done it yet, never done it since. So I suppose the thing is, if you're a competitor regularly, you probably don't need to measure your body fat, I
yeah.
suppose, because you shouldn't be getting fat. It shouldn't be an issue. But some people do like it though. Some people do really, really like the measurements and whatnot.
I would use it, say, like as an example, if I'm like if it pushed me up to like say 15, that would tell me I'd be probably at about 20, and I need to stop eating food and time to get leaner. That'd be good there to control an off season. But I haven't had the advantage of doing a proper off season yet for nearly a year and a half, so we'll see how
Yeah.
that goes. But
So when you do your off season, how do you structure them yourself? Are you like a moderate carb, high protein, moderate fat? What's
So
your approach?
I just
Nutrition.
yeah. So like if I'm being honest, because I never would really count what I would be doing so much. I'd have a general idea and I'd count. Then I'd just stick to the same type of food structure. Like I said, like my biggest bulk times, I was like 10,000 calories a day. That's what.
That's too much, surely.
I like it. Like I said, I was a power lifter though. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted
Yeah,
big
yeah, okay,
numbers.
fair enough.
I just wanted, like I said, I didn't really care about like, that. So that's why it's different because I started from a different background. So it's sort of like, and
Yeah,
then I sort of like was always stayed because I had that size. And as I got leaner, my brain kept going, oh, I'm too small, I'm too small, I'm too small. So it keeps like making me want to get bigger
yeah,
all the time. If you get what I mean. So I've been having a different battle.
yeah.
If you get me. So.
So I suppose going forward, then if you want to take the off season serious, you have to start measuring, I suppose, food a bit more. You reckon,
Yeah.
or you reckon it's not? Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah, because
no, definitely. If I was doing that, like I do know how to measure food, and like I says, because I've done it for many different clients, and I've done it myself as well. But
yeah,
like what I was saying, that was just like the beginning stages. I went like way far back because I've like been training over like 22 years now, so it's a long time.
yeah,
If you get what I mean,
yeah.
it's a long
It's a
time.
long way. I've been competing for nearly 20 years.
Yeah, nice. Like I
It's a long
said,
time, isn't it?
that is, it
So
is.
long.
You'd be able to get the very good condition and all that. What are the things I need to work on?
Yeah, you know what you find? What I find is getting into condition is like it can be a suffering battle. You got to suffer, right? But
Mm.
each time you get leaner, you do just get a bit more crisp. Each time you diet down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The look gets a little bit different. Now you can diet
It
with
looks a
different
little bit
strategies.
better. I found that too each time. Like, I come in a little
Mm,
bit better each time. I do another dig out. But as you were saying, sorry to steal it again, but as you were saying, so as an example for like this sort of strategy, I would usually sit my food up higher this time I'm going to have a different strategy at it, because I'm getting at the wit's end of it, if you get what I mean. Because I'll deliberately try to eat as much as I could and then slowly lose and then take a little bit. I'm at a stage now where I think I'm going to run a bit more of an aggressive deficit, if you get what I mean. Because I'm just like, just want to dig that last little bit out, if you sort of get me. Yeah. So
have you tried carb cycling, man?
Yeah, that's what I was doing before. It works really well. I can go a little bit in depth on that in a minute if you want. Just give me a second. So as an example, at the moment, I will probably just run, this is what the plan is, I'll probably be running 2,200 to 200 calories, about 230 grams of protein, probably do about 130 grams of carbs, and just so I got my central fat, so I'll probably do 60 or 70 grams of fat. That's what that will probably look like moving forward. But I do work better on a carb cycling. It's just sticking to it and doing, like, so I like the couple of high days. I found I was more efficient if I do 2 high days, like a few low days, and three or 2 low days and a couple of medium days. Works really well. I can get away with like anywhere from, when I do that on my high days, I can get away with like anywhere to 5,000 to 6,000 calories on them high days, and I still lose weight. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I see. I'd never, myself, I'd never have my high day that high, because the swing, like, you're going from 2,000 to 5. That's hard. Do you know?
No. That's my big deficit I'm going to run now. My lowest days at that stage would be probably, my lowest day would be 2,800. My medium days about 3,000, 3,400, 3,000. So it's all closer in line, if you get what I mean. The only thing is, I would just keep pulling from my higher day, if you get what I mean. Because like I said, I use 2. I use 2 deliberately to bring up a muscle group though. So say like you've got one muscle group, if you like got one that's lagging, then you can burst your training around that. So then you loaded the muscle with glycogen first, and then actually not train that muscle until the next day when you load again, and then it's fully saturated. So you actually get an anabolic response for 2 days, instead of you being in a phase where you don't get that response. But like I said, if you're shedding weight fast, it's not a good thing, if you get what I mean. That's probably better when you're a leaner and you're just trying to bring something up with still coming down. My bad. Sorry to steal. Keep going with yours. I didn't mean to. Yeah, it all changed. Yeah.
No, okay. I was like high days for me. Like, I've found over the years that just a baseline diet most of the time is actually, for me, works quite well. I can tolerate high days well, but when I fluctuate my carbohydrates on high days really high, and then my other days are moderate, my energy levels are all over the place. So I find I just do better on like a stock standard, like week training day rest day. If I'm properly depleted, I'll have to do a refeed.
Is that because of that? Like you said, you have trouble absorbing after the 400 grams of carbohydrates? Because I think my absorb rate for me is close to about 700 to 800 grams, and then I'm good usually, even at that amount of carbohydrates.
Yeah, it can, but like the total calories for me are the issue as well. But like, I don't. It's just more so the feeling. Like, when you wake up and you're just like a slug, or you wake up and you're great, and I like to. The feeling goes a long way in a lot of people, and that's where it's like you've got to find what works for the individual, because what might work on paper might make them physically feel like crap or mentally feel like crap. So for me, if you're feeling good, you're probably going to train good, and it's not like I'm super depleted or anything like that. I don't have to go terribly, like the lowest I went in my prep for food was probably about 2,500 calories. That's probably the lowest I went. I probably averaged over the whole prep about 3,000, about 2,800 to 3,000. Like
that's where I usually sit. So your metabolism must be better than mine.
Well, my metabolism, look at this. I've never been overweight in my life. But I've also been eating like a bodybuilder, cooking my meals since I was 16. So it does sort of help doing that as well. You've come from a different background from me. I've always been like the physique sport background and like athletics and stuff like that. So that putting on all that weight was never I never wanted to do it like that. When you're a power lifter, weight is strength as well. Leverages and all that. So it's a little bit of a different mindset. I've always been into the not aesthetic, but like just bodybuilding, and I always knew that if you're a bodybuilder, don't get fat. That's how I always saw it.
It was always a passion of mine and always there. You know what I mean? I just went another route to start off with, and then, like I said, at my first meet, I went in there, won my bench press. Right? They got my bar heights wrong. So they got how the mono lift will go like that and will move. So they got my bar heights wrong. What it did, it clipped my bar, so the bar was wobbling, and I just went down and squatted anyway. Come up, I tore this ITB up the IT up the. So not sideways, like up it.
I've done that. I've done that on both my quad.
Oh, it's terrible. The healing takes so long.
It takes like about 2 months.
No,
for me,
it took me.
I didn't. You probably did a deeper tear than mine, but I always get it when I'm really lean, and I'll be doing some kind of squat-based movement towards like 4 to 6 weeks out, right? Mm. And I did one time. I did both strains on either side at the same time, and I swear to God, I couldn't do any squat movement for like 8 weeks properly. Yeah. It was painful.
That comes to that part where that's what I found I had to do the more I started the training, because coming from that, I'd always just lift heavier, and as I trained more, I started to realize I don't need to lift as heavy, you know what I mean? Especially as I'm starting to diet. It's hard for me to wrap my head around sometimes, because I've lifted it before. I'm like, I should do that again. I lift like nothing like what I used to lift. Nothing at all like I used to lift, if I'm being honest. I'm so much weaker, but it looks like 10 or 20 times better.
I always tell people, right, if you're a bodybuilder and you want to be a bodybuilder for a long time, you want to try and lift. This sounds a bit like, I'm not saying train like a pussy, because I'm not saying that, but if you want to lift the lightest weight possible and get the most out of it. No one cares as a bodybuilder how much you lift, right? So if you can lift a lighter load, but it can make it feel heavier. Now, this only comes with experience. People can't do this from the get-go, right? You will be better long term, because your joints are going to be better. You should develop a better mind-muscle connection. You're not going to be throwing weights around, and it's just safer, for longevity.
Yeah,
when you're young. Yeah, when you're young, you can clang and bang. I did that. I loved it, right? Yeah. But once you get past
doesn't last.
No, look, could I train like that? Yeah, but I'll be broken for days. Yeah. And it's just not it doesn't do me any good anymore.
That's back to that other phase thing. That's where I'd use that phase thing. Remember you were saying about the different phases of the off season, other season. As an example, what I've come up with after that period of time, and what I like to do is I like to do then like more like a Dorian Yates type of style of training. When I eat more food, keep my volume low at about the 12 to like 12 sets. I'm good. You know what I mean? Just like move through real heavy movement, if you get what I mean. But only when my calories are very high. You know what I mean? No really like forced negatives or hype, what is it? I'm getting stuck with what I'm trying to say. Like super sets, super sets, I don't really do rest pause, like slow negatives. I'll do like maybe 1 sets of them, or I like sets of 20s and 30s and stuff too. But they're more all them techniques is like as I'm winding my the volume up if I'm getting leaner, so then my overall volume will increase. So then my volume goes up from that to like 16 to 20. You know what I mean? But like back the weight. So instead of me lifting like what I would usually lift, like anywhere from like the pushing about an 80 to a 90%, if I'm being honest. Like, but someone's forced exception of how hard something is, unless you push yourself that hard, is different than someone else's, if you understand what I mean. You got it, like, there's a different
reserve.
There's like at my probably 90 or 80%, there's not hardly any reserve there, if you get what I mean. Yeah, but you diet back to about 70% when I do that, and it's just more about getting that pump, if you know what I mean. If I have a shit and I feel shit, I'm gonna drop the sets down, and have a bit of a rest, go back to 12 or 15. But usually it's trying to hit them 20 sets. What about you? How's that set ranges and that work for you when that time? Have you got a different approach there on them?
I'm probably the opposite of you. So off season, I'll do heaps of volume. So I'm a high volume trainer anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
so I don't do low volume. I just don't like it. So I'm a high volume trainer, but I'll do some set extenders probably in my off season more when my food's really high. My logic is I've got more available nutrients there to actually be able to recover from that.
Mm.
So if I was going to, I've done this before, so this is probably experience, but into a contest prep, if I raise my volume, I overtrain. I just start overtraining, and then my performance goes down. So as I get leaner, I actually reduce the volume a little bit to aid in recovery. But in reducing volume, what I mean is, say I do 3 warm-up sets. Like what I do is I'll just do 2 warm-up sets, but still do my top set.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah.
But there's going to be no set extenders normally when I'm dieted down. Yeah. It's just straight sets and done.
Yeah. I usually just do 1 top set and then that's it, though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's fair. I normally do 2. One or 2 and a back off.
Yeah.
But like I said, I always find that when my food's higher, it also helps with my nutrient partitioning, keeping my blood glucose better, because I find personally, for me, higher volume, higher output, I can utilize food more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all in relation to myself, but most of my clients, I would say, even when they're dieting down, I do reduce the volume because the ability to recover is not there from the food standpoint, So, but like I said, it's got to be, everyone's different. There's so many ways to skin a cat.
I only had that, like I said, that only changed later after all the injuries, because like it says, I will push and shit will tear. I've had so many tears. I've done both calves, I've done both quads, both pecs, tricep, bicep, that, there. And I'll just ignore it. Like I'll feel it go, but I'll just keep going. So I have to just pull back to that 70%. And I found that what that does is, by me going lighter like that, it actually gives me the same stimulus I would get for doing just as heavy without thing. But the point is, like you said there, as soon as I do get that fatigue, because that does set in with you, exactly what you said, with them higher reps, and when you start doing, especially when you're dieting, I will have to then drop back down for 1 or 2 weeks to that less, 15 or something, and then bunch it back up. There's even sometimes there, as I'm getting along, because I use that and I don't do as much cardio though, I'll even do 40 sets on one muscle group sometimes as I move into
I always do cardio. I do cardio year round. I just find it keeps me healthy. Like I did 15 minutes. I'm not dieting now. I did 15 minutes this morning just off the bat. But I just find that these days I need to keep my heart healthy as well, for longevity and whatnot. And my blood pressure is good. Man, like I said, I got my bloods done a week after one of the shows. And my bloods were good, good relatively. My HDL was not great, I'm not going to lie. But everything else was fantastic. And I think it comes down to this living a certain lifestyle, a certain amount of food, activity level, training, and really just making a conscious effort of being in this game for a long time, You can just, I used to think when I was younger, cardio, no, I'm wasting my calories. But really, if you can eat them calories back, you're just aiding recovery and you're getting better within your sessions, I find, That's just me. Like every time I got younger people who are really quite, thin, ectomorphic, and you can't get them to do a lot of steps. But I do always like a baseline step in there. Yes, minimum 8,000.
I do cardio, don't get me wrong. I usually do 20 minutes, and then I do increase when it's time, probably up to about 45 minutes. I don't increase any more than that due to my legs will shrink. And it's just one of my areas, and they'll just come down. I have done the 3 hours of cardio. That's not the issue. I just figured out what works for me, if you get what I mean. So, it's not saying that everyone probably should do it if they need to, but I will spend more because of that. I will deliberately have 2 sessions of posing though, for half an hour or 20 minutes. So I make it up in the volume and the other, if you sort of get what I mean. So I'm still moving more. So overall, that movement is still, but like I said, I end up getting burnt out if I keep doing that. But it's just a different approach. It's not. I found my legs don't shrink. That's all.
I do find that people who have legs that do disappear, doing even the rower can work for them.
Oh, really?
Upper body cardio. Body cardio. Stuff like that. And even my female clients who are trying to build big legs and glutes, I tell them don't do the stepper.
Yeah.
Because
they all love the stepper though.
No,
Like,
no,
well,
people
yeah,
love the step up because
yeah,
it burns you up,
yeah,
But if you've got a muscle group that's weak and you are putting a lot of cardio through it and strain through it, generally it's gonna take away from your training your lower body. So the recovery element there is not going to happen. Your training performance is not going to be there. You're constantly beating up your weak body part with cardio, which is not going to make them grow. So like my females, I tell them, listen, just do no impact cardio if you can, especially like the girls that want the bigger glutes and legs. Definitely like easy cardio for them is a lot better
yeah.
than doing step mill. But someone's after complete fat loss, mate, go crazy on the stepper, mate. Go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. If I wanted just to get the fat off and not care about my symmetry and that, I would
Yeah,
just smash the cardio out. Don't get me wrong. I want my
yeah.
symmetry to come in at the same time as well. That's why. If you get me. And
Mm.
sorry to backtrack. The 40 sets is not. I don't always do 40 sets. That's rare. I've got to be feeling
Mm.
good. Everything's working well, and then I'll obviously pull back on everything else during that same week as well. If you get what I mean. You know how
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
just
know.
get them days and you're just like, I'm just going to hit it, or do
That
this
was me
giant
yesterday
set,
doing
that
legs.
giant set, this giant set,
Yeah.
this super set, Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you drive me crazy sometimes. I
yeah.
used to do it a
Sometimes,
lot more, not so much anymore. But
yeah,
like some days, say you're training with someone, Sunday you're having a good time. You're like, hey, let's do a bit more.
yeah,
And look, is it optimal? Maybe not, but you're having fun.
yeah.
Come
True,
on.
true, and
You
it
know,
is it is technically making you move more and burn more calories at that period of time anyway too. So
true,
overall,
true.
it is doing it.
Yeah,
Like 'cause your stimulus, is already you've probably already drained that out though if you have been technically logical about it, but
yeah. But hey, sometimes you just gotta have fun with it. You know what I mean?
yeah, true.
Having fun with it just makes it. I like having fun every now and then.
Yeah,
Nah, it's good.
100%. 100%. It's going